Hello, my friends, wherever you are watching me from. I have really come again for an important deliberations, and it is bordered on religion. The topic is God responsible for our progress in the world? In other words, do we really rely on God to experience progress in the world? By worldly progress, I mean money, power, victory, health, marital stability, and so on. Anything you can consider progress in this world. If God is really responsible for the progress in the world, why then do people who do not believe in Him enjoy the seeming progress in the same world? They obviously do not pray to God for those progress, but they acquire those progress. We can also say and infer that those who believe in Him, sometimes when they pray, but they are not enjoying those good things in life. Does it mean that God is wicked and evil and even partial? This deliberation is very risky and a very difficult one. By the way, the difficulty lies in our mentality and the idea of God we have. When we see God from the perspective of utility, then this discussion will become obviously very difficult for us. The first point to make here is that our worldly progress is dependent on our mental faculties. Of course, they are also made available to all human beings regardless of what one believes in. It is God who bestows them to us in order to take dominion over the world. These mental faculties are innate in man, but are sharpened by nurture and environment. The mental faculties are imagination, perception, will, memory, intuition, and reasons. Through these mental faculties, man understands his world and is able to imprint some changes to the world. Secondly, even if God is directly involved, He is not really interested in individual progress, but how the individual employs those faculties to cultivate the world and make it a better place for a generation of people that are going to live in it. It is not about how much we enjoyed those progresses, but how did we arrive at it and how much we use them to help people. Finally, God's impact in the world is through man. He always acts through man, and through him, God does his wonders in the world. It is good to note that God is present in us when we are mentoring people in the right direction. This does not mean that without man in the world that God is inexistent. It rather means that God is present, and through him, that is man, he conserves what he has already created. The implication of this are: 1. One's capacity to progress in the world is to the extent the environment nurtures the innate faculties through adequate knowledge. Otherwise speaking, one cannot achieve this even if when one prays. But if he doesn't sharpen those faculties, no progress is forthcoming. Secondly, in achieving this progress, there are lifestyles that should be avoided, otherwise it impedes the progress that is expected. For instance, if one wants to live, one must drive carefully and with one's full attention. Also, one cannot spend his capital for bad lifestyles and still think that he can make it. Thirdly, you cannot actually progress in life without adequate knowledge of what is needed to succeed. Also, the support of people is utmost necessary. In conclusion, if a believer in God does not apply these faculties well within a good and progressive environment, I doubt the possibility of making any progress. And so, if a non-believer in God taps into the faculties gifted to him in a progressive environment, there is always a greater possibility of progress. However, there are cases where God acts by himself as God. These cases are pointer that God is God and he showed himself as God. We should not remove that fact. But my own proposal is that we should not limit ourselves to that. Since God has given us the capacity, the faculties to operate, let us readily tap into those faculties to make an achievable progress in the world. I rest my point here. You can make your reservations and ask questions for clarification. Go to the comment section, type that you understand it, or you ask your question. I want you to share this message, share this view. You can actually help somebody who does not understand that God has already done what he's supposed to do in him, and of course through those faculties. When that person is motivated now, he can actually rise up and use what God has gifted to him to make progress in the world. Remain blessed.